In Hollywood, they say you know if a script has it or not within the first 10 pages. But honestly, I think it's within the first 5, which is why I started this series, The First 5, where I read the opening 5 pages from scripts that you submit, and I let you know what's working, what needs some work, and whether or not I would continue reading past those first crucial pages. So if you like this series, be sure to like and subscribe. And let's get right into it. On today's episode, we are reading through Anomalous by Chase Bell. All right, so here we are, page 1. From darkness, the unnerving sound of a ticking clock, it's anxiety-inducing, and as the ticking continues, we cut to exterior crowded street, Dallas, day. Daylight, a burst of color and crowd and chaos. I love that alliteration. So far, I'm really loving the action. I'm loving the ellipses. That's a really fun technique. I've actually seen Robert King, who co-writes and co-created the show The Good Wife. He uses that a lot in the pilot script of The Good Wife. And it really just helps you kind of feel what you're going to see on screen a bit. I'm a big fan of the formatting of this script first and foremost. So let's keep going. On this crowded street in Dallas, we descend past towering downtown buildings, police officers every 2 feet. Okay, so then we get our title, Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963. I was a history major, and I assume maybe this was a poignant day in history, but I'm not remembering what that day was. So let's keep reading. Scree! A Dallas police cruiser rips a hasty U-turn, burning down the opposite side of the road. Great. Action. Through the madness, our eyes land on a faded red duffel bag. A bearded man carries it, disheveled, mid-30s, in a loose-fitting suit that's barely holding on by its threading. I love that description. As he shoulders it through the crowd, an eagled eye might notice the fresh specks of blood on the left side of his face. A bad cleanup job, not all his. This is great. Just ahead of him in the distance stands a luxury hotel modeled after a Germanic castle, 22 stories, the Adolphus. So now we're in the Adolphus. We're following this bearded man who's got blood stains on him, not all his. Okay, so here we have enters the lobby floor, and then he cuts across the pristine floor. I would just maybe take out one of those floors. Diverting eye contact. So the bearded man is looking for something, for someone. Growing murmurs brew. Shock and terror on their faces as breaking news plays across the lobby television. Something terrible has happened. No time to find out what's going on, so our bearded man, we're still tracking him. He keeps going, grabs the attention of a desk clerk. Excuse me, and he has a British accent. Interesting. Desk clerk glances up, breaking his attention from the small monitor sitting atop of the counter. Blanches, clearly taken aback by the bearded man's appearance, even more so by his accent. I gotta admit, I was a little bit too, that he looked so scraggly, but he was British. The desk clerk says, "How may I help you, sir?" The bearded man slams blood-stained dollar bills down, and the desk clerk frowns, notices the man's fingertips. They're scorched, as if he was just electrocuted. Bearded man says, "I'll take a room, preferably one facing the street." And off the bewildered look of the desk clerk's face, we cut to, okay, so now we're in the hotel room of the Adolphus. The key hits the lock, woomph. I love those sound effects. The door's thrown open. Bearded man bursts into the hotel room, slams the door shut, and he's looking out the window, studying the mass hysteria down below closely. Mass hysteria that I kind of assume he just helped create in some way, but we'll see. Sirens echo, a barrage of police cars take to the street, speeding around the panicked crowd of people. And with that, the bearded man has seen enough, sets his duffel bag down on the bed. With a stiff movement, he removes his suit jacket, a fresh wound now visible as blood stains through his white shirt. This guy has been through the ringer. I love that additional kind of color commentary, and I love how it's italicized. It feels like there's a cohesion to that commentary. Ignoring the obvious discomfort and pain he's in, bearded man opens the duffel, removes some tools. We're already on page 3. We are moving through this one. Okay, a hammer, a screwdriver, the essentials, and then a shotgun, loose shell casings, a cracked tactical respirator mask. Uh-oh, that's scary. Finally, a chrome metallic device, the size of a cell phone, futuristic in its design, yet aged twice over with considerable damage. What is going on here? Because we're in the 1960s, so he doesn't have a cell phone. Bearded man clears the table in the room and creates a workstation, lays his tools and the metallic device on the table, clicks the television on, and gets to work. So he disassembles and rewires this device as breaking news plays across the television in the background. It's Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite in our newsroom, and there has been an attempt, as perhaps you already know, on the life of President Kennedy. Okay, so this is the JFK assassination. He was wounded in an automobile driving from Dallas Airport into downtown Dallas, along with Governor Conley of Texas. So now we all know that this is the JFK assassination, and we think that this bearded man was somehow involved. He doesn't react to the devastating news, and he's unfazed. So again, reinforcing that belief that he had something to do with it. The flash apparently official. President Kennedy died at 1 p.m., some 38 minutes ago. The news slowly fades to white noise. The bearded man is sweating over the device. His hands tremble with blisters. He's connecting 2 red wires, which to me always means bomb. He's like, come on, work. Suddenly, a tiny billow of smoke gathers. The metallic device begins to overheat, sparks fly. He snatches his hand from the burning touch. Whatever the device is, it's fried now. He's like, no. So that's really bad news. At first I thought he was getting somewhere, but no, this is bad. As we'll see on page 4, wham, the bearded man throws this metallic device against the room. It hits with a ringing clang against the wall. He stands in a frustrated silence, snaps the television off, a desperate man it seems, as he paces back and forth. This is really great. I'm really enjoying this. Suddenly a power surge hits. The bearded man freezes. He tenses to the sudden flickering of the lights. So something is clearly wrong. He goes back to the window, opens the curtains. The world is still in chaos below, paranoid eyes returning. He makes his move, grabs the device off the floor, stuffs it back in his duffel. Adrenaline spiking, urgency in his steps, like he's running out of time. He shrugs his suit jacket back on, duffel over his shoulder, shotgun concealed inside his jacket, and he's out of the room just as fast as he entered. Okay, so now he's in the hotel corridor. He's hurrying down the corridor. The lights aren't flickering. He hits the thumbs down button on the elevator. Not the thumbs down, thumbs the button down, which is totally fine to say. I just got it jumbled. There's no thumbs down button on an elevator. It can't come fast enough. Come on, come on. He's waiting, he's anxious. It feels like an eternity. Ding, a noise alerts him, and out of the corner of his eye, the bearded man spots 2 well-dressed thugs as they step off the elevator. They shoulder submachine guns across their bodies. Blam, 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 blam. They don't hesitate and open fire. So he's clearly the one that they are looking for. His eyes go wide. He ducks down, returns fire, blindly blasting into the ether, bullets ricocheting around him. Really crazy action sequence, right? Blam! A shotgun blast from the bearded man blows one of the well-dressed thugs off his feet, fires again. He gets the second guy. On to page 5. Able to display superior marksman skills while under extreme duress. So who is this guy, right? Running fast, turns a corner, throws himself into the emergency door. Now he's in the stairwell, speeding down the flight of spiraling stairs. Shell cases crumbling in his hand as he struggles to reload. Door slams open. Whoomph! 2 more suited thugs force themselves into the stairwell. The first suited thug raises a Markov pistol, charges forward, disarms the thug. Blam! Bearded man lifts his shotgun, fires, takes out the first guy. The second guy attacks, slams him against the wall. He loses his shotgun in the struggle. Down the flight of stairs it goes. The fight is close, violent, Punches and knees and elbows thrown on both sides, both fighting for their lives. Desperate, the bearded man headbutts the suited thug. The thug staggers backwards towards the ledge of the stairs. Boom! The bearded man throws his feet into the suited thug's chest, launching him off the stairwell, flipping, twisting over the guardrail, crashing to his death down below. So it's a big struggle. The bearded man wins. Collects himself, he's weary, finds a new wound, wipes the blood from the cut above his eye, leans against the wall with a heavy weight, and using the guardrail as a crutch, he heads down the remaining stairs, slows, bends down, and grabs his shotgun on the way out. Wow, Chase, this is great. I am hooked, I'm riveted. I honestly don't have a ton of notes. I think the way that you wrote this, I would love for people watching to really study, because this is, I think, how you write great action. And there's no one right way to write great action, but this is in Chase's voice, in his style, and it just works incredibly well. So let's go through and talk about why this works. I think the main reason why it works is because it feels like propulsive action. And you do that by spacing out your action lines into smaller bite-sized pieces. And also with some of this punctuation that you're using, the ellipses, the dashes, every line is kind of leading into the next, which really helps us with that propulsive feeling. Also, just the words that you are using within your action lines very much are in tune with the pace of the action that we would see on screen. So when things are staccato and fast, your writing feels staccato and fast. And when, he's creating a workstation and he's kind of laying his tools out on the table, it's a little bit more languid and it feels a little bit slower. That's great. And that's the mark of great writing for the screen, because you're really painting a visual picture with your words, which I think is so great. I really don't have a lot to critique on this. I think it's incredibly solid. I found that one typo, so that would be with the floor and the floor. That would be really my only note. I guess the only thing I might say is there a way that you can get us to where you got us a tiny bit sooner? Is there any fat that you could trim out of this in a way that might get us to where we're going a little bit quicker, or to have some idea of what is going on a bit sooner? But I don't even know if you need to do that. I mean, it's very well written, and I'm intrigued, and I want to keep reading. I want to know more. I want to know, did the bearded man kill JFK? Like, the people need to know. So honestly, Chase, I think you did an incredible job. I'm really impressed by this. And yeah, so let's look at the logline that Chase submitted with this project, Anomalous. So the logline he submitted is, fighting for the survival of all time and space. An intrepid CIA agent learns she must traverse through the past in order to save the future from a nuclear attack. Very intriguing. To me, this sounds like a pilot, so every episode she would potentially be traversing through space and time. It's a she, so clearly she is not the bearded man or any of these thugs that we saw in the beginning. So I assume that within the next couple of pages we would finally meet her, or have some sort of point where this would merge. But let's look at this logline. Fighting for the survival of all time and space. An intrepid CIA agent learned she must traverse through the past. So I don't even think you need that opening chunk of fighting for the survival of all time and space. I would just lead with, an intrepid CIA agent learns she must traverse through the past in order to save the future from a nuclear attack. I think that's enough. I don't think you need that opening chunk. And I wonder if there's more conflict that you can add into it. Obviously, traversing the past feels like there's a lot of potential conflict there. But if you can give us a little bit more specificity in that, like, the stakes are high, but showing us the conflict. She's an intrepid CIA agent. Yeah, like what is that conflict that she has? What is kind of the conflict that she faces? I always say the best log lines show two things: stakes and conflict. And there are definitely high stakes. She's got to save the future from a nuclear attack. The stakes couldn't get much higher. But what is the conflict? She's intrepid, she's a CIA agent. To me, she sounds like the person who would most likely be traversing space and time and the past in order to save us. So what is the conflict about who she is or what she's doing versus the situation that she finds herself in? That is the only thing that I would say could really elevate this logline, that and getting rid of that first chunk, because saving us all from a nuclear attack, that's the stakes. So just adding in a little bit more conflict to that logline, I think would help to really boost your elevator pitch on this one, because you want someone to read this. The writing really is stellar. I think you did a great job, and it really just, yeah, it all just comes right off the page. So congrats, Chase. Super excited to see what happens next with this. I would totally keep reading. And yeah, if you have the first 5 pages that you would like to submit to me to get some feedback on here, I would love to read it. So just go to the link in the description of this video in order to submit your first 5. And again, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on all of my social media accounts where I give a ton of free screenwriting advice and info. Also, be sure to sign up for my weekly newsletter, my Substack. It's just juliayorks.substack.com. It's called Julia Has Notes, and I share 2 posts every week about writing and the craft of writing and the business of writing, how to break in, how to stay in, all that jazz. So if you like the content I'm putting out here, you will definitely like my Substack. I'll see you next time for the first 5.